All right, so we're going to look at solving literal equations. When we talk about literal equations, these are equations that have multiple variables in the same equation. When we're given a literal equation and it asks us to solve it, it's going to be asking us to solve it for one of the variables in the equation. So for instance, on this problem, it wants us to solve this equation for L. So our final answer should be L equals. So when we get to the last step, we should have L on its own side of the equation. So this equation is the perimeter equation. So perimeter is looking at the area outside the outside edges of a square or rectangle or anything with four sides, where two of the sides are equal and the other two sides are equal, where this would be our width and lengths. Okay, so we're looking at the perimeter equation and we're going to solve this equation for the variable L, which would be our length in our perimeter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this equation the same way we would if there was numbers in this equation instead of extra variables. So what we want to do is get everything on the other side of the equation and get L by itself. So the first thing that we're going to get rid of is this 2W. So since this is being added to our L value, to get rid of it, we're going to subtract it. So we're always going to use the opposite operation. So we're going to subtract 2W from both sides of our equation. 2W minus 2W cancels out, which just leaves us with 2L on the right side of our equation. And on the left side, we now have P minus 2W. Okay, the last thing we need to get rid of to solve this equation is the 2 that's attached as a coefficient to our variable. So to get rid of that 2, we need to divide by 2. And when we divide the right side, we also have to divide the left side of our equation, and we're going to divide that entire left side by 2. So on the right side, 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1, which leaves us with just L. And on the right side, we have P minus 2W divided by 2. So we're going to rewrite this equation out, and it would be L is equal to P minus 2W divided by 2. So this would be this equation solved out for the variable L. There's no further steps we could take with this unless it gave us values for our variables. If it did give us values for our variables, we could then plug those values in and solve out for the actual length.